Oh, okay, there we go. Jessica is a wonderful leader, very experienced, and I'm not going to do any justice if I try to describe what All Our Kin does or who she is, but I'll tell everyone she has an amazing TEDx talk on YouTube you can look for, or maybe we'll share a link, TEDx New Haven. Jessica, I loved watching that because you start with your origin story with your brother. And I think that is so relevant, especially when we think of caring for people. So without further ado, please, Jessica, thanks for sharing your time with us and tell us more about All Our Kin.
Yes, I'm very excited to be here with you. I am going to use slides if I'm able to bring them up, and I do that really as a way to bring children, parents, and educators into the room with us because I'm going to talk about childcare, which any of us who are parents know is essential to our own success in the workforce development system. So let
If
me
you do
attempt.
share, yeah, if you share, and I think I can just approve.
Yeah, okay, great. Got it. Do you see my slides?
Yes.
Fantastic. Okay. So I used to say that our childcare system was broken. And then I realized that was giving us too much credit because we don't have a childcare system. We have an underfunded, fragmented mess. Here in the United States, the cost of childcare is actually more than the cost of in-state college tuition in almost every state. It's incredibly expensive. It's incredibly hard to find. There are 4 million children in the United States that have no access to childcare at all. And if you have an infant and toddler, or if you work evenings and weekends, or if you have a child with special needs, care is even harder to find. Meanwhile, we have a system where childcare educators are often paid below minimum wage for the incredibly important work that we do. Why does this matter so much as a workforce development issue? Well, let's start with kids. Children's early learning experiences lay the foundation for everything that comes later. 90% of children's brains are built before the age of 5. And early childhood experiences also lay the foundation for things like empathy and curiosity and grit and problem solving, all the things that we know are essential to success throughout their lives, but also in this rapidly changing world of AI and of climate change and everything else, are going to prepare them to succeed as the workforce of tomorrow. But let's talk about the workforce of today, because without childcare, parents cannot go to work. And this has a devastating impact on many parents, especially women. Lack of access to childcare actually costs women as much as $295,000 across their lifetimes because they cannot go to work, they fall further and further behind, and when they try to re-enter the workforce, they just can't catch up. Meanwhile, it matters for educators too, because they're earning less than $15 an hour for the most important job in the world. And there's a reason for that. We think of childcare historically as the work of women that we have exploited, particularly Black and Brown women. And it is because of our thoughts about gender and race that we have exploited childcare educators for so long. In the end, we all pay for this. Ready Nation estimates that lack of access to childcare costs us collectively as a country $172 billion a year, because without childcare, parents cannot go to work and organizations can't function. So, childcare is kind of the ultimate workforce development issue. It affects the workforce of today, it affects the workforce of tomorrow, it affects parents, it affects educators themselves who are a workforce, and it affects collectively all of us together. It's an issue of gender equity, of racial equity, of economic mobility, and of the kind of country that we want to be. Now, all across the country, in the face of this broken system, women open their homes to care for each other's children. They create childcare micro businesses that are a critically important source of support for all types of children, but especially those that have the biggest challenges to accessing care. Infants and toddlers, children whose families work evenings and weekends, children whose families speak languages other than English, children with special needs. Again and again, you will find these educators caring for those children. They are in every neighborhood in the United States. And I want to be really clear that these family childcare educators, as we call them, are teachers. They are indeed educators. They are leaders holding whole communities together. And they are business people. They are running small businesses that support them and their families and actually generate income in communities that need that income substantially. So, what we did at All Our Kin some years ago was to recognize that in our childcare policies and our childcare training and support, we have ignored and left out these critically important family childcare educators. And we set out to build a model that would enable educators to succeed at every level. That means supporting educators in becoming licensed and setting up these micro childcare businesses. It means bringing them the very best knowledge of child development, delivered with the very best adult learning theory, so that they can provide wonderful care and education for our youngest children. And it means training them in good business practices so that they can earn a living and they and their families can thrive. We have shown that All Our Kin's holistic model of training and support ends up transforming the supply of childcare, ends up expanding access to high quality care, and ends up leading to significantly higher earnings for educators. It ends up being a triple win because through our work, childcare providers succeed as business owners and accumulate wealth for themselves and their families. Working parents find stable, high quality care for their children. And children receive the educational foundation that they need to be successful throughout their lives. We've shown that the combined impact of all these factors actually results in a return in investment of $15 for every dollar that we invest in our newest educators. It's hard to imagine an investment that has more impact than that. Now, All Our Kin began in Connecticut, as you heard, but we expanded to New York City on the strength of our data and impact, and states across the country have begun reaching out to us to learn how to replicate our model and do what we do. We have now trained agencies in 44 states who are implementing All Our Kin's model. And the same tools that make us effective as trainers of early childhood educators make us really effective in training staff at other agencies so that they're able to find similar results to ours. Now, more than ever, All Our Kin's work is critically important. Parents are facing an affordability crisis. Educators are facing an affordability crisis, and we are hearing from communities all across the country that they really need All Our Kin's support right now to make sure that they can build the supply of family childcare businesses, that their educators are thriving and able to keep their programs open, and that parents have access to the care that they need to go to work every day. And here as a parent, I just have to say, I cannot imagine what it must be like to have to go to work, leaving my child in a place I don't feel good about. No parent should ever have to make that choice. And I know that, that most of you here can agree with me when I say that. Now, we're actually in a moment of opportunity because we are seeing state educators and city educators, like the mayor of New York City, announce their plans to invest in universal childcare and support the development of childcare systems where educators can thrive. And they're reaching out to All Our Kin for help because we have those they need to be successful. But similar to what you just heard about from Wendy, it's going to take a good 2 years for these systems to get up and running. And so we really are thinking about the next 2 years as a critical time for educator success and for all our kin services to grow. Without caregivers, children can't succeed. Without caregivers, parents can't succeed. And so I ask you to think of childcare as some have said, the work that makes all other work possible. And I thank you for supporting what we do at All Our Kin. Quick word about our team. We are women founded. We are women led. We are a team of 60, many of us former family childcare educators. I think our people are a great strength. And in our people, I would include not only our staff, but also our amazing family childcare educators who are transforming the lives of children every day. And with that, I'm going to take down my screen.
Thanks so much, Jessica. And I wanted to ask everybody if you are a parent or working parent, current or in the past, to use the reaction thing to send a heart also, because I think we all know that exactly what Jessica said, not even maybe enduring childcare, but you know how much work we have to put in as working parents when our kid is sick, when something happens, or during a young age, the care was year round. I remember when my daughter first went from preschool to kinder. It's like, wait, what happens in the summer? Excuse me. So not recognizing that I was just taking some things for granted, right? So having the trusted system is wonderful. Jessica, I want to ask you a question, and feel free, everybody else, if you have questions for Jessica, you can put it in the chat, and then I'll share that. And if we have questions later, we will share that in email back to you and get the answers. So I know, having worked with you and have reviewed your information, we know that you're very well supported by private philanthropy as well as public. Tell us a little bit more about the private philanthropy, especially I know I want to congratulate you on a grant that came to you, I think maybe about 3 years ago. For those who don't know, Mackenzie Scott Grants is not something you apply to. They pick the recipients based on the work they have already done and award them with a very trust-based type of grant. That was so amazing. Tell us a little bit more about how the grant supports you and then how that works into like a timeline for you.
Yeah, that's such a great question. So the Mackenzie Scott Grant was extraordinary. This came at the beginning of COVID when educators and agencies all across the country were truly Call Our Kin every day saying, how are we going to manage in the face of this crisis? And then we got this extraordinary phone call out of thin air, giving us a grant that was about a third of our yearly budget, and essentially saying to us, we know you are needed. We want you to scale. We want you to help educators at this moment of need. And it was significant also because the grant was specifically an acknowledgement of the fact that our work is centered on gender equity and racial equity, right? So not putting childcare in a box, but recognizing that childcare is foundational to everything. We budgeted that money out over 5 years. We used those funds to grow our organization. So those 44 states we reached, we would never have been able to reach them without that grant. It really gave us the fuel and the impetus for scale. It gave us a runway to do it. And it meant that we are in the position we're in now, where when we are getting these opportunities to give tools to states and cities, we have built up so much content knowledge and so many relationships and such a good team, because our team is really our capital, that we are prepared to respond.
Fantastic. I know I was so excited when I saw that, because that if we've read it in the papers, that's exactly what Mackenzie Scott wanted this to do. Let the money out and not trap it in some sort of a fund. So we love that's what you did with it. Once again, thank you so much for joining us. We love hearing from you. And for everybody else, again, I think we put the link to the ways to support All Our Kin in the chat, so you can go check it out yourselves or send us questions and we'll pass it to Jessica. Thanks again, Jessica.